project tracking a done-for-you service without you ever filing a single document, subscribing to fancy softwares, or paying for expensive bean counters. It's kind of like you focus on your project and we do everything behind the scene to make you and your business shine with lenders, auditors, and help you keep close eye on the bottom line. It's that simple. If you think this is something that can give you or your business a competitive edge, better decision-making abilities, and put you miles ahead of your competition, watch this video till the end. And if you like what you see, or if this video makes you curious, click the button or the link in the description and schedule a call with us. Here's a scenario for you. You're 4 months in a project, your trades are acting up, you are behind schedule on a job you secured by dropping your price to stay competitive, thinking it would keep the team busy. What is your cost to complete this project? Did I get you? If you know your cost to complete at any given time, or you can click 2 buttons and know your cost to complete, I salute you. You have my respect. Now, don't stress if you don't know your cost to complete, because I can assure you, you are not the only one. In fact, I believe that 90% of small, medium-sized contractors, home builders, do not know their cost to complete once the project has progressed beyond the first 2-3 months. You know why? Because most are one-man army, or at most 1 or 2 man band, who have too much on their plate and they start their day by putting out fires. Amidst all the chaos on a work site, tracking budgets, organizing invoices, and paperwork is the last thing on their minds. I know, I have been there. For many years, every time I was in a project and job A needed money, money was coming out from whichever account had the money. I was basically robbing Paul to pay Peter all the time. Talk about cash flow management. It was non-existent. My bookkeeper had no clue. God knows how many bookkeepers I have fired in my time running the construction company. Here's the thing about bookkeepers. They don't care where a transaction gets allocated. For them, everything is cost of goods sold. A bookkeeper will only allocate everything into a few key parent categories, which is fine from an accounting point of view, but it is useless if you want to know the cost breakdown of your project for future references. I found that every time I wanted to check my cost to complete or the true cost of the project, there were always 2 major issues with them. The bookkeeper was either always behind the 8 ball, that means they were still catching up with the bank reconciliation statement and so on, or they would have a list of transactions that they had no clue about. Again, something which requires my input. That means the ball's back in my court, which means I'm the bad guy. Meaning most of the time I was flying blind. See, here's the bottom line. Bookkeepers don't care. So I thought I should try industry software. Maybe that's a solution. While most of them would give you your cost to complete, the biggest problem I found with construction software is that they are one, management focused. One, that means they're really good at maintaining site diaries, project schedules, assigning and managing tasks, etc. And second, their subscription values are usually based on the total job value, and they require too much data entry and mucking around. It gets worse, but here's the real problem I was facing. I was never confident of the budget or my allowed costs because there was no benchmark. Yes, you do get quotes from trade suppliers, but there is always allowances. At any given point, I did not know my cost to complete. But just not knowing my true cost of the project and my cost to complete causes a domino effect, which brings down everything else. Here's the real problem it causes. You want to get a new job, you got to drop price. And by the law of attraction, you become the shit job magnet. We attract bad jobs with no money and clients who are there to get us. So there's no record, there's no negotiation power. Our negotiation advantage is practically zero. We can't get any bulk discounts with trades and suppliers because we don't even know what we can negotiate with them. We end up incurring interest costs and late fees left, right, and center. And by the way, have you ever made a double payment before? That means an invoice got paid twice. Well, I've done that numerous times. So if you are a small and medium-sized contractor, builder, project manager, one-man army, or a 2-man band, and would like to scale and grow your business, win bigger jobs, track every dollar, so you can make better decisions, implement measures to steer projects in the green before it's too late, save time, get your life back, cut costs, confusions, and become more competitive in the process, then allow me to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Amber Khanna. I'm a real estate developer. I've developed over $65 million worth of projects. I've managed and operated and co-owned a construction company for 6 years. In 2015, I launched Property Development System, a system to find, track, and execute developments. I also teach and mentor students in real estate development. I've authored numerous project budgeting, tracking, and real estate feasibility applications, and there's a lot more in the pipeline as well. My experience and background is in finance and accounting, real estate development, financial modeling. In terms of educational qualifications, I've got an MBA, but you can find out more about my qualifications on propertydevelopmentsystem.com/about, or connect with me via LinkedIn or subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I love two things: one, numbers, and two, creating systems. See, I come from a textile background. I transitioned into real estate development back in 2012, then formed a construction company solely to control all developments in-house. My role in the construction company was to find, stack, and track projects, manage finance, deal with investors, raise capital, and track projects to the T. Initially, my feasibility and budgets were way off, and every time I had to do a feasibility on a project, it would never land where it was supposed to, which bothered me a lot. It gave me sleepless nights. So I hired a bookkeeper, then fired him, then fired another, then hired another one, and then fired them too. Tried various construction softwares. Some of them were good, but heavily focused managing the job, like scheduling, budgeting, managing RFIs, etc. At one time, I had 11 projects on the go, and no one in the company knew what were they costing us or what the cost to complete was. It was complete and utter chaos. It was as real as it gets. No one had the time to feed in purchase orders in the software. No one had the time to collect all the quotes, scrutinize scope of works, terms and conditions, etc. There was a bucket load of invoices at all times which had to be processed and paid. So we hired virtual staff who had no idea how to cost code or allocate each invoice or process every document that we get. The bookkeeper couldn't care less about allocating transactions. It was a mess. So many times he would end up double paying the same invoice as well. And since the construction side was managed by my partners, their priority, and rightly so, will always the occupational health and safety compliance and on-site works rather than the budget and the invoices. All this really frustrated and worried me because I'm pedantic with numbers. I like to track every dollar, and this was not something I was going to live with. What I was looking for was a simpler yet optimized solution that allowed me to keep an eye on the bottom line at all times so I wasn't flying blind, which would show me real-time self-updating monthly cash flow against my budget. That is my budget versus actual, including receivables and payables, all in one single monthly view, without the need to ever record or track purchase orders. If they were there, great, fantastic. If they weren't recorded, no problem. Keep managing and filing invoices myself, spend a day sorting out coding invoices, or spending time tracing transactions way back in time and not being able to figure out what it was for which job, which project, or chase my bookkeeper to catch up with bank reconciliation. And I shouldn't have to pay for or learn any kind of new software. Basically, all I wanted to do was scan and dump all invoices in a cloud folder and let someone else sort and code them, update any new information that was required from those invoices, and file them for me with minimum error or input from me. From a single list view, mark invoices as paid or not paid, and clarify any doubtful ones, which only requires 5 to 10 minutes a week from me tops. And in return, I get back real-time, self-updating budget versus actual in a single view with monthly cash inflows and outflows, plus some other reports that I need, like cash flow by contacts, how much have I paid a single company, in what month did I pay them, a business activity statement between the dates that I select, and interest calculations between jobs. If I took money out from job A, paid job B, I want to be able to charge interest from job for that money to that job. So here's what I learned. In order to do that, I needed a team who could do the work, a system to coordinate the input and output, and the way I can provide the inputs with least amount of effort and get back a processed output, the reports, the way I want them. And I needed some proprietary applications that help minimize mistakes as well as human error. And I also realized that project tracking was very different from bookkeeping. Here's why. Bookkeeping is to keep the tax department happy, and bookkeepers are only concerned with cost of goods sold. Project tracking, on the other hand, is required by us to make better decisions in future as well as whilst we are in the middle of the project. For future planning and decisions, for better analysis, to correct our mistakes and learn from them, to become more competitive, to set performance benchmarks. Ever heard the saying, whatever gets measured gets improved? It's by Peter Drucker. I discovered this the hard way after spending hundreds of hours, if not thousands, over the last 7 years, training my team, developing systems, developing checkpoints, numerous iterations, and lots of application development. I built everything with two things in mind: speed and simplicity. With speed, what I mean is that there should be zero or minimum learning curve for me or my team. So no playing catch up with the software in terms of data entry or bank reconciliation. Everything happens day by day, every business day, everything gets updated. If there's a transaction, it's got to be allocated. Simplicity, it should only need three things. Do you have a project budget? Something to compare it on. So for example, unless you have a benchmark, there's no actual, like, you have got to have a project budget in hand. Can you put all your source documents in a project folder? If you can do that, yes, fantastic. Can you get access to all your bank transactions? I'm pretty sure everybody can. So here's what we do. We take your project budget, bank transactions, and source documents and give you back an ever updating real-time project tracking sheet, which is a single view where you can have a look at whatever your budget was, so whatever you started off with, and where you are going with it in real time. And it gives you all kinds of metrics and everything that you can have a look at. So it's got all the details that you basically need. So if I zoom into any one of them, you'll see that we've got a cost head and we've got our details underneath that. So when it comes to bookkeeping, we can live with all these parent categories. However, when it comes to actually tracking the project, what we need is the actual details of what we allowed for. When did we think that the project would start, or this this cost would start or happen in the project, and when it will finish, and whether or not it actually happened in that. And we do that for every section. If there are any payables happening in that period, so we will start from, let's say, 1st of January, and it's going on whatever the total that we had. We had a budgeted value for that section, but it didn't happen in that section, and there was a monthly variance for that time. Was there any earned value based on the amount of work that was completed? So we track all of these things and give you this sheet as a report, which is self-updating. So every time you'll open this report, you'll be able to see that against your budget, whatever you allowed for, what does it look like now based on, for whatever your category is. So if you have a total of, let's say, 16,000 allowed in here, and where are you running against it? So this is what we do, and how we do it. What happens in the background? It's all magic. It's all abracadabra, and this is what our IP is. That this is what I've developed over the years, which is me and my team. We sit there and we start off with a budget. So I use one of my other templates, which is available for free if you wanted to go to Google Marketplace. So if you go to gsuite.google.com/marketplace and you search for lead project, so don't search for So go for lead project. Don't go for lead project plus, because you won't be able to use it. This is what I use on my back end. This is how I make all these things happen. And you can then go in and install this. This is 100% free. If you wanted to do that budget in here, great. Otherwise, give us your budget the way you do it. Don't change anything that you are doing already, and it's working for you. Just give us what you've got, and we'll create that budget in the background. There is a small fee for it. And then we track the project for you based on that. What we do is we look at all your bank transactions. We allocate and assign them different cost codes based on what we've learned from you. You can then get all sorts of reports from it. I'll give you an example. You'll be able to see, you can allow whatever the amount that you, whatever company and all those things. So what we do is we train from whatever input you give us, and we do that here in another one of our proprietary add-ons, where we scan everything that you give us. We create a link for that file. You can then go and have a look at that link, or if you wanted to share that file with somebody, you can send them the link. So only people who have the access to the link will be able to see that file. Most people, otherwise nobody can see it. And then we allocate all those cost codes to it. We basically sit there. So one that says in red, that means these files have already been filed in a folder. So we provide a filing. So if you dump everything in one folder, we will separate that and give you a hierarchy that goes down 3 levels. So first one would be the job code. Second one could be your company code or your document type, depending upon that. And we will file that for you in that folder. We will then learn from you, and we will work with you for the first few weeks, trying to understand. And every now and then we will come across 1 or 2 things. But as time progresses, we will come back. We will come back to you with less and less stuff. Not only that, every document that you put in a folder, we even strip off the text in it, the first 5 pages of it. And the reason is that we use that to understand and allocate those documents or invoices to various cost codes that we use. So that you ask us to use, basically. So from that point, we then bring everything together into this sheet. So if you, I'll give you an example. So here, if I scroll down, the ones that are green, that means they've already been reconciled. And if you look at the statement and you clicked on, these are the different bank accounts, and we've got different bank statements. So if we clicked on it, it'll open the bank statement right here. And yeah, so basically, so you've got access to everything in a second. So so these are all synchronized and synced and reconciled, and everything's been put together for you. Then we communicate either with your bookkeeper, whoever your bookkeeper is, and we give them access to a similar sheet like that, which has all the transactions that we have already categorized. If you want to stick with your own current bookkeeper, no problem at all. We've got no issue. You can work with them as long as you want. And if you want us to take over, then we'll take over, and we'll communicate with our bookkeeping team, who will then pick up all the parent categories and add these costs in the parent categories in there. So the thing is, bookkeepers don't really care what your subcategories are. So these are all the subcategories that you allowed for. So on-site security, project manager, whatever you want to allow for that. What they are more concerned about, the site running costs and what those costs are. But for you to be able to have a sheet where everything's getting updated as the time is progressing day by day. So every business day, every sheet gets open, we update everything, and every time you'll open them, you'll be able to see the current updated budget versus actual in real time as your project's going. The thing is that if you know that, okay, I started off with 165,000 and I've only gone 10% of the way in the project, and I've already spent $80,000, I should be doing something to curb this cost, because at the end of the project, this is going to blow out a lot, and it could hit your bottom line. So that's what we do. There is some scope for customized development. It depends upon what the scope is, and we do. This is like a commission work where you tell us this is what I'm looking for. Can you do something like that? And we'll definitely do that for you. For example, currently I'm working on a progress claim report, which basically tells us or automatically generates based on the percentage that you put in on all the different parent categories that you've got. So if you say 10% complete, it'll just pick up what's complete, compare that with what's not complete, and give you a column that you can just print out and lodge as your progress claim to be able to lodge a claim or attach it as an annexure. We've got a business activity statement where you can put in the date, add the number of months after that. So if you add number 3 months or whatever, it'll just update to the next 3 months and give you all the transactions that happened there. Then we also give you another cash flow by contacts. So currently, I think my conditional formatting has gone a little bit crazy on this, but the way that works is that you've got a company name, and then you know exactly what's happening, how many payments have gone to that company ever since the project started, so that you've got there. We give you a loan account in the sense that it happens all the time, because in real life what's happening is that you're moving money from one account to another account to pay for expenses because you got a cash flow going, and sometimes what you want to do is charge interest from one account to another account and so on. So if you've got your business account set up, we actually give you a report for that. So this is all sample data, so all of it is not there. So when you schedule a call with us, I'll walk you through all of these in more detail, answer any questions that you might have, and we'll go from there. Even the bank transactions that we do, these can be processed into any kind of report that you might request that you need as a custom report. So for example, we've got a date, account number, description, account. So we add our everything is tracked via the job code column. We've got all our cost codes. Document ID is that if we have a document ID to that thing, we will link that file here, so that all you have to do is you click on that and you'll be able to see that document. If there is a statement, that means a statement has been provided to us, then we will do the reconciliation here as well. Who you paid that to, company details would be here. If you're from Australia, New Zealand, or UK, you would have a GST or not GST, it's a GST and VAT, and we do the calculation for that over here as well. So none of this is manual, so it's not that I'm making it manual. A lot of it is coded. A lot of it works off your budget that you give us, and then we've got all our account heads, whatever is connected to that cost head or cost code in your QuickBooks or Xero, whichever account that you use. And that is how we provide all these reports. So we do everything that needs to be done in the background, and all you need to do is give us three things. You need to give us your project budget that may look like whatever you got, whatever you have, and we then take it, we then attach it to our budget versus actual sheet, and we just give you a report. Anytime you want a feedback, you want to change something, you just go there and you leave a comment in there. So say for example, we've got a sheet over here and you want to change that, or you want to change the value, you just go in and add a comment, and we control all of that, because these are like going to be like reports for you. Every time it is, you just open that sheet and you'll be able to see. While in the meantime, in the background, we are organizing everything for you. We'll coordinate with your bookkeeping department if you have your own, or we'll coordinate with our bookkeeping department and make sure that your books are kept up to date and your project budget that you can look at one place in one hit. So if you are interested in something like that, feel free to schedule a call with me and we will go over your requirements. Looking forward to talking to you. Thanks.